You've heard this story a million times before. A 16-year-old prodigy comes out of nowhere, starts breaking one record after another. People are comparing him to Messi, Ronaldo, or Neymar. But then, he fails to live up to those expectations due to enormous pressure and disappears even faster than he appeared. This is the story about Bojan Krkić, Freddy Adu, Hachim Mastur, but not about Ansu Fati. While his injuries had a massive impact on his career, the main reason behind his downfall is much more devastating. He has been sabotaged by his own club. The same club that gave him everything when he needed it the most took everything from him in a couple of months. When he was 10 years old, both Barcelona and Real Madrid were desperately trying to sign him. But even though Real offered his family more money, Barcelona offered a better long-term project and even gave his family a place to live. His family was so poor, they couldn't even afford proper football boots. Growing up in Guinea-Bissau, Ansu didn't even see his father until he was 6 as he moved to Spain trying to find a job and earn some money. When the rest of the family joined him, he didn't even know his son played football. But once he saw him, he was shocked, and so was everyone else. After he showed up for the first training in Sevilla Academy wearing swimming trunks and old worn-out shoes, people were wondering who the hell that boy was. But then he picked up the ball, and it was evident that he was levels above his peers. Even after he joined La Masia, he didn't stop thriving. He was not only the most talented kid, but also the most intelligent one. He was thinking faster than everyone else on the pitch. By the time he was 15, he was already playing with under-19s, and 1 year later, he was supposed to join the Barcelona B team. But what happened next shocked everyone. You see, the Barcelona manager at that time, Ernesto Valverde, wasn't exactly known for giving opportunities to youngsters. But then Messi, Suarez, and Dembele all got injured, and he had no other choice but to give a chance to someone from the academy, and he opted for 16-year-old Ansu Fati. 78 minutes into the game against Betis, he became the second youngest player to play for Barcelona. 1 week later, Barcelona were 1-0 down to Osasuna at halftime, so Valverde needed to make a change. Just 5 minutes later, a cross came into the box, and of all people, it was a 16-year-old boy who scored a header. He became the youngest goal scorer in the club's history. 2 weeks later, he got his first start at the Camp Nou against Valencia. 2 minutes into the game, a ball came into the box, and Fati reacted faster than everyone else and fired the ball into the corner. And if you think he was done, 5 minutes later, he burst past a defender on the left side and played a ball back for Frenkie de Jong to score. Leo Messi, who was still out injured, was watching the game from the stands with a big smile on his face. He was 100% sure that Barca had finally found his successor, and he wasn't alone. 3 months later, he became the youngest ever player to score in the Champions League. He added 5 more goals that season, mostly coming off the bench, but no one was prepared for what would come next. For every single Barcelona fan, the summer of 2020 was as close to hell as it can get. They had lost 8-2 to Bayern in the Champions League. Their best player was trying to leave the club for free, and their financial situation was so bad they could barely afford any signings. The fans were desperately looking for hope, and in all that mess, it was a 17-year-old kid who became their biggest hero. He scored 2 goals in 4 minutes in the opening match against Villarreal. Then he struck again against Celta Vigo and Ferencváros. And if that wasn't enough, he became the youngest ever goal scorer in El Clásico. As a player, he was both crazy and intelligent. Let me explain. Every single time he saw even the smallest chance to attack the space and shoot, no matter how much the odds were against him, he went for it. But at the same time, he was a player that saw a big opportunity in situation where other players would just pass the ball back, and that's what made him so special, so unpredictable, and so exciting. exciting to watch. But then everything changed. In a match against Betis, Fati tore his meniscus. He was expected to return after 4 months, but instead he missed over 9. So what on earth went wrong? Well, at first, everything seemed fine. His surgery went well and he returned to the club. But this is when it all went terribly wrong. The club was desperate to get him back on the pitch and rushed his rehabilitation. He was taking twice as much training sessions as recommended, and because of that, his meniscus never fully healed. He had to go through 3 more surgeries and eventually had part of his meniscus removed, which meant higher risk of muscle injuries in the future. And yet, his return from injury could hardly have gone any better. He scored an incredible goal just 10 minutes after coming on against Levante, but this hope didn't last long, and after just 1 month, he was injured again. He returned 2 weeks later to score 2 goals in 2 games, before he picked up another muscle injury that ruled him out for 2 months. He came back for El Clásico in the Spanish Supercopa, and once again he scored right after his return, but in the very next match, just 36 minutes after coming off the bench, he left the pitch in tears. He was out for over 3 months. He was never the same player ever again. But can he somehow become that player again? Well, it's gonna be difficult. You see, his game was always built around his courage. He was never afraid to take risks. He was always capable of creating that moment of unpredictability. But after all those injuries, he has not only lost some of his explosiveness, but also his bravery. Every time he's on the pitch, every time he touches the ball, every time he makes a sprint, there's a powerful voice in his head repeating this one question: what if I get injured again? Do you think his career is over, or can he still fulfill his potential? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, you should also check out the video about Ousmane Dembele.